Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And yes, let's go. And we're continuing our survey of Carl Nielsen in the Overflow room. This is going to be 4 videos, actually. I've taken a look and counted it out, so I know it's going to be exactly 4 videos. And we begin this pile. Here's our stack du jour, our clump of Nielsen, with another recording, the same way we began the last video. Carl Works, Springtime in Funen, Finsk Forar, whatever it's called. Delicious, lovely work. This is the Unicorn Kanchana. Remember Unicorn Kanchana? Yeah, Kanchana is actually the daughter of the guy who owned Unicorn. His wife was Indian, and their daughter's name was Kanchana. I know that because I met him, and he told me finally what the Kanchana was. Anyway, it's really a gorgeous work, and this is the Odense Symphony under Tomasz Veto, who we already saw in the last video doing other Nielsen incidental music and interesting things. This was, for most of us in the non-Danish speaking world, our introduction to this work. It was the first digital and first sort of major recording that we had easy access to, and it was lovely. And you also get the Aladdin suite, which is a good performance, not the most powerful slam bang thank you ma'am sort of Aladdin, which is what I kind of like, but it's quite good, and it was a lovely disc. And now that Unicorn is gone, I mean, I wasn't going to get rid of that. Then we've got, part of the Naxos Nielsen cycle. Now the Naxos Nielsen cycle was taken over from Da Capo, when Da Capo replaced this one with the New York Philharmonic Nielsen cycle, which was terrific, and this was terrific. This is Michael Schoenwandt, Symphonies 2 and 3, with Inger Dam Jensen and Poul Elming, vocalists in the third. It's really a fine cycle. So whether you have it on Da Capo, where I do, I have it upstairs still on Da Capo, or the Naxos Incarnations, it's definitely worth hearing. It's first class, absolutely first class. Not my favorite. Not my however choice, but really, really good. And for a while, it was actually the however choice, so it's been surpassed. Nielsen and Kalevi Aho, clarinet concertos with Martin Fröst, amazing clarinetist, and the Lahti Symphony Orchestra with Osmo Venska, first-class performances, very, very exciting, of 2 very virtuosic and interesting works. The Nielsen is an amazing piece, a difficult work, actually, in which the clarinet and a snare drum and the orchestra all battle it out. It's full of personality and character, and for that reason, people don't play it very often. Such a pity. And the Aho has written concertos now for everything. I mean, absolutely everything. I mean, he's written them for toe flute and things like that. But it's a fine work, so definitely worth hearing. Then we've got the Nielsen Clarinet Concerto. I love this. This is a great disc. Pan and Syrinx, Love and the Poet, Amor and Dicterin, and the Petite Suite with Walter Boykins, and the Beethoven Academy under Jan Kuyers. Okay, really nifty, nice to have. On Harmonia Mundi, not your typical Nielsen label, but a beautiful performance of the Clarinet Concerto, a couple of minutes slower than Martin Fröst, and which means it has a little bit more lyricism and all that. Fröst is notably swift. This is more sort of what you're used to, and I, as a clarinetist, can attest to that. Not that I ever got anywhere close to that thing. Forget it. My roommate in college, Jeff, was a very good clarinetist, actually. He gave me his clarinet at some point so that I could improve and work on my own clarinet playing. And I gave him the score to the Nielsen, and he just said, "Oh my God, it looked like the notes looked like fly doo-doo on paper. There were so many of them. It was like impossible." He tried it. He was playing with it, and it was fun. Then we've got Nielsen Symphonies 4 and 5 with Adrian Leeper and the National Symphony Orchestra of Ireland. This was roundly supplanted by the Schoenwandt. I've kept these things because I keep Nielsen. I collect Nielsen, but these performances are a little bit lacking in, well, they're just lacking. Let's just say they lack and leave it at that. The Symphony No. 5 in Sagadrom with the New Philharmonia and Jascha Horenstein. Okay, Here we go. This is the recording everybody hung on to because, as with so many of Horenstein's unicorn recordings, the balances were off. And so you've got really forward timpani and a snare drum cadenza that goes completely insane. And it's what you want in the first movement. However, the second movement is typical Horenstein. It's rigid in tempo, clogged in texture and sonority. It never, the fugues have no personality and no individuality because he's just beating time. It's such a pity because you have this amazing first movement and this really lousy second movement. And that's Horenstein to a T. Inconsistent, very inconsistent. Historical Nielsen, the Danish State Radio Symphony Orchestra, Thomas Jensen doing Symphony number 2, The Four Temperaments, and Symphony number 4, The Inextinguishable with Lonnie Grøndahl. Oh, people swore by these before anyone really knew what this music sounded like in good sound, with good engineering. I mean, I can't listen to these now. I just can't. I've got a bunch of these. I can't. I mean, they're interesting because they're historical, but the orchestra is second rate. The sound is lousy. I mean, Nielsen really needs top-notch engineering because his music is so dynamic and explosive and muscular. And you've got to have the dynamic range. You just here's the first symphony, the Helios Overture, and the fifth, also with Eric Tuxen and the Helios Overture. And Thomas Jensen. Tuxen does the Helios Overture. Thomas Jensen does the rest, and I couldn't care less. Sorry, folks. I just don't have the stomach for crappy sounding Nielsen. And then we've got, let's see, Esa-Pekka Salonen's Nielsen cycle. Some of which was very, very good, some of which was not. The fourth was a not, but this, 3 and 6, this is the best. This is the best of that cycle, I think. It really is. It's tremendous. The performances are razor sharp and full of energy and power, and they're very well recorded, which the fourth also was not. It's with the Swedish Radio Symphony Orchestra, and with Pia Maria Nilsson and Olla Persson, baritone and soprano in the Third Symphony. And boy, is this fun, especially the Symphonia Simplice, the sixth, because Salonen, it treats it like a really modernist, contemporary, angular thing, which it is. And it's fun, lots of fun. That's on Sony. And then we've got the Kubelik Danish Radio Symphony Orchestra, Symphony number 5. See, there was a time when things like this were all that we had. They're just, Nielsen took a long time to catch on. And, there was always that Bernstein 3 and 5, which showed everybody what the music really ought to sound like and how exciting it could be. And then this thing showed up with very slow tempos in the Fifth Symphony. It's 38 minutes long, which is about 3 or 4 minutes longer than it has any right to be, particularly in the first movement, and the Danish Radio Symphony Orchestra, which at this point, which was 1970, it looks like, 70 or 86. 86, is it? I don't know. It looks like 86. They just weren't so great. And the performance is slow and unidiomatic, and it's Kubelik, so I got it because it's Kubelik. Interesting because it's Kubelik, sort of. And then we have Sibelius tone poems with Anatol Dorati and the London Symphony, Lewanatar with Gwyneth Jones, Night Ride and Sunrise, and the Oceanides. Unusual tone poems. And that's why you get this too. So the disc is greater than the sum of its not always interesting parts. Gwyneth Jones, by the way, Lewanatar is kind of screechy. It's not her piece, but that's okay. The Sibelius is fun to hear. So there you have it, my friends. Some interesting Nielsen, isn't it? Keep on listening, and thanks for joining me. Take care.